Dylan Cox for Secondsout.com here with promoter Frank Warren. Frank, good end to last year and a great way to start this year in February. Big show at the Copper Box, and you've added a few new names as well.
Yeah, I'm pleased. It's a great start to the year. Great for the fans. Derek Chisholm, Tyson Fury on the same card is going to be fun anyway. And Derek's in a real tough fight, so I'm looking forward to that as he is. And providing they come through, I'm hoping to set the two of them up in a final eliminator for the world title in sometime in June.
That'll be some matchup. We saw it last time. Obviously, Derek wasn't at his best, but the hype and the sort of the build-up to that fight will be something else. Well,
I think it'd be much different because I think they're much better fighters than they were then. You know, Derek's had more experience since then. You know, he's been in with good fighters, and certainly last year he turned his career completely around in focusing on, you know, what the things were letting him down. You know, his diet, and he's worked hard on that, and I think that's shown in the ring. You know, he had a fabulous time last year. Tyson, unfortunately, you know, trained hard for fights against David Hay. They fell out. Those two fights fell out of bed. So in some ways, that's our gain as promoters. He's eager, I think, than when he fought Derek. So you've got all those ingredients, providing these guys come through in February, to build a big fight in June. And if we can get the tag for a final eliminator, then you know that they got, you know, the winner's got everything to go for. So it's, you know, I think it's a no-brainer to be a huge fight.
Just a quick question on Fury. Is he going to be promoted by you for this fight? Was he a promotional free agent, or is he with Hennessy still?
I'm promoting the fight. You know, Mick's still involved with them. And the fight, if we do the fight with Derek, then that'll be a joint venture between, I'll call it Team Fury and ourselves.
Last year, as you said, you had some good shows. You know, the Copper Box has turned into, as you wanted it to be, like a home of boxing in London. It looks like a great venue. But behind that, you had Derek matched very well last year, really, because he fought different styles. He fought a very tough American, and he's done what a lot of other heavyweights at his level haven't been doing, and taking on the guys that a lot of people don't want to face.
That's right. He's gone out there. He feels he's the best. I've got to tell you something. It's not promotional hype. I think he's the best heavyweight out there. I've said it for a long time. You know, I said, this guy gets himself right in his head, you know, from his diet point of view. If he can focus, I do think he's the best heavyweight out there. And if you look how he's, as you quite rightly said, the different styles that he fought, and finding guys like Malik Scott who no one would go near. You know, he took those fights on, you know, and done a great job. You know, and for me, that's what it's all about. All these other guys underneath the Klitschko's, and even including Vladimir at the moment, none of them want to fight each other. I mean, they do not fight each other. What do? It's the same, you know, with Vladimir, it's the same old stuff. He's a great fighter, Vladimir Klitschko. But I'd love to see him fight Derek. I'd love to see him fight. Or even Tyson Fury. They're great fights for the fans, and they're just not happening. And credit to Tyson Fury. At least he wanted to get it on with David Hay.
You had a tough year in some respects last year as well. You know, people defecting from you, going to another promoter, etc. But you come through that. You got through 2013, and you optimistic for 2014? I'm
very optimistic. We've got a lot of young fighters. When you say fighters defecting, I mean, you know, a couple of guys went off their way, and we signed a couple. You know, the Channel signed Cole Frampton. You know, Derry Matthews came over to us. I mean, that's what happens in boxing. Things like that happen. You know, I'm confident in what we're doing. When everybody misses the point, what we've been about the last few years is building a boxing channel, and that is a success story. You know, anybody who watches Box Nation seeing the best fights from another, we don't get an accolade for that. Everybody keeps saying, oh, 2 fighters left you. Who cares? At the end of the day, they went. When I say who cares, I mean, there's a legal side of it, which really, you know, I'm annoyed about the contracts being breached, and we will deal with that. But, you know, at the end of the day, if people have got that mentality, that will happen. It's always happened in boxing. But at the end of the day, they've got to understand what the implications are when they make these moves. But the success stories is what we've done. We've built a channel which got a lot of subscribers, put on the best fights. Mayweather, all the best fighters are on the channel. The Mayweather fights of the year have been on the channel. I'm delighted with that. And as I say, this year now, you know, because of the success of the channel, we're into its 3rd year as a channel. Because of all the work we put into all these young guys, they're all going to come through this year. This year is going to be a good year for us. You know, we're building fighters, we're building them correctly. You know, an old hand at doing that, and occasionally I'll get it wrong, but most of the time I'm okay on the ball, and my team's on the ball. We've got a really good team there, and we've got some good talent coming through, and they excite me. It excites me, and I know at the end of the day we're going to have a good year with these guys.
The Box Nation thing, like you said, it's just been providing the biggest and best fights out there. Can we expect to see more of that? The contracts you have with like Golden Boy, etc., that's ongoing for 2014?
There'll be some announcements in the next week to 2 weeks. I mean, first of all, the biggest heavyweight fight in the country is going to be on there in June if it happens. The two best heavyweights in the country will be fighting on the 15th of February at the Copper Box. That's a Box Nation broadcast. There are a lot of things happening, and there'll be some great fights out there for the fans to watch on TV and to come into the arenas and see. And
you mentioned last time when we spoke that you were thinking of going into foreign markets with Box Nation. Is that still very much in the pipeline?
Yeah, there's a couple of the executives, directors of Box Nation are working on that, and again, I think that within the next few months, the announcement of a couple of new territories will be made.
And just talk about those fighters that you're building. We spoke to Frank Buglioni earlier. We spoke to Bradley Skeet. Bradley Skeet is great matching there. I mean, Vivian House still a name. I know he's a bit past it, but that's a tough fight for Bradley Skeet. You're giving Frank a tough test as well. I mean, that's the idea, is it make sure that these guys are getting the right test at the right time.
But we've always done it. You do it at the right time. Fighting is like that. It's like probably yourself. Can you imagine the first interview you went and did? You probably felt a little bit nervous, needed another one. Then probably somebody who's got a higher profile, you get a bit nervous doing them. Boxing's no different. The guy's got to come in. You've got to bring them along correctly, and they're all different. Some you can say, well, that guy's ready to go. Others you've got to take a bit more time because they've got to mature, not just physically, but also mentally, and it's that's what I like to try and do, to pick the right moments for the right fights and the right fighters. And when I look at all these youngsters, and we've got a lot of youngsters, a lot of good young fighters there. I look at them and I find it exciting times. I really do think it's exciting times for British boxing. Talent that I've got and talent that other promoters have got. I've never seen so much talent loaded up. 2014 for British boxing is going to be a fabulous year.
And obviously keep your eye on the world scene. You're doing the Box Nation shows from abroad and stuff, the big fights. What do you think of those promoters over there? Obviously you've worked with all of them, the big promoters, but do you think that they had big years as well? Golden Boy, Top Rank, they were doing some quite innovative things themselves.
They've done some fabulous fights. I mean, Bob Arum, Top Rank have opened up a new market in Macau, haven't they? I mean, Macau turns over more money than any casino city. I mean, in the world. Vegas doesn't even touch the sides, and he's opened that market up there. Bob's very innovative. He's a veteran promoter, but he knows his business, and he's done fabulous. Richard Schaefer and Golden Boy. Richard's done a brilliant job. I mean, Richard is a hard-working guy, and he wants to put on the best fights and the biggest fights. They look after Floyd Mayweather, who's without a doubt the most recognisable and the top boxer in the world. Do a great job. They're bringing young fighters through. There are other promoters out there. There's some good stuff going on in Germany with the Sauerlands. It's great times. It's great times for boxing. And Box Nation, by the way, shows most of these fights.
Frank, thanks very much for talking to us. Best of luck for 2014.
And you. Happy New Year.
You too. Thanks very much.